5 new revelations about NSA surveillance from MotherJones. These are interesting. One we already talked about in the previous segment, which is that according to the NSA, 50 terror plots have been thwarted since 9/11. Of course, even the head of the NSA admitted it's impossible to say which specific programs were responsible for the thwarting of those plots, nor can we say with certitude that not having certain NSA surveillance in place would have prevented us from thwarting the plots anyway. So that's the kind of clarification there. Number 2, the NSA does not need court approval every time it searches Americans' phone records. NSA Deputy Director John Inglis said that there are 22 NSA officials who are authorized to approve requests to query an agent database that contains the cell phone metadata of American citizens. They do not need individual warrants from the court. What they do is, after the fact, on a monthly basis, they report all of the information that they accessed after the fact. That is very different from what many Americans believe should be the proper protocol. Number 3, there are 10 NSA officials who have permission to give information about U.S. citizens to the FBI. That includes both Inglis and Alexander, who were involved in the testimony that we talked about over the last 10 minutes or so. 4, other countries are even less transparent than the U.S. This is something officials are saying. They're saying, for example, listen, in Germany, in the UK, in France, there is less due process afforded to citizens in those countries. And those countries also have laws that compel telecom firms to turn over information to suspects. I actually think that shouldn't matter. I really think that what other countries do, when we talk to libertarians and they compare the level of liberty in the U.S. to in other countries, and based on that say certain things should happen here, I say, hold on. If you don't like what the U.S. does, that's fine, but you can't contextualize it in that you also can't find any other countries that are as free. So along those lines, I don't think in our discussion of where we want privacy versus security, we should be really pointing to other countries.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. We can, but I think if we reference also how many terror attacks have been attempted and thwarted in those countries, maybe. But
interesting. We would have to compare to that as well.
Yeah.
Well, the number 5, speaking of that, number 5 is that fewer than 300 phone numbers were targeted in 2012, according to NSA officials. Do you believe what the NSA officials said? Do you believe that they were speaking accurately in terms of the letter of the law, but not the spirit? Do you think they were straight up lying? Do you believe what was said? Let me know. I'm curious to hear, now that we heard some from the NSA, what will be the reaction from people?
I think we can all agree that the language was very carefully used.
What this really makes me wonder is, where is all the surveillance of Wall Street and all of those financial instruments that and the companies that used them, which did really bad things to the broader majority of Americans, not the really rich people? Where is the surveillance of them? It seems to be very little.
I know.
Almost
in retrospect, didn't they do more damage than every terrorist attack ever on U.S. soil?
I mean, we had, in the last 10 or 12 years, a little over 3,000 people die on U.S. soil from terrorist attacks, and that is a tragedy. But what about all the people that have died from lack of health care, poverty, as a result of the growing income inequality in the country?
And how many people are just hungry and suffering?
Yeah, I mean, I think where's the surveillance on the people causing those problems?
Yeah.